Hello, children, and welcome back to another session of mathematics for class 1. We have already gone through different chapters in the last videos. Now, today we will learn about a new chapter. The number of the chapter is 5, and the name of the chapter is measurement. All right, children? So, before we go into the topics, let's try to see what we aim to understand through this chapter. All right, children? So let's look at the first point. We will learn to identify near, far, thick, thin, and taller, shorter objects. Okay? After this lesson is over, we will be able to identify all this. Next, we will learn to compare and measure length of objects. Length of objects, different objects, all right? And distance between two objects, okay? And also we will learn to measure the length of objects in non-standard units. Non-standard units simply means using our hand, our feet, our fingers, all these to measure. All right? We will come to that later in the later part of the video. So let's move on to the first exercise. Fun time. We will have a little fun identifying things here. Now, I'm sure we have all learned about long, short, tall. So let's try to identify the longest in this picture. Okay? We have three pencils here. One, two, and three. We have three pencils. We have to identify which is the longest. All right, children? So if you look at one, 2, and 3, we can visualize that number 3 is the longest. All right, children? Number 3 is the longest. In the next exercise, if we look at the picture, we see three scales. 1, 2, 3. We can see that the number 1 ruler, this ruler, is longer than the number 2 or number 3. All right. So we will put a tick mark in the first ruler. All right. So this indicates that this is longer than this or this. Okay, children. Now let's look at the opposite of longest is shortest. So if you say long, the opposite will be short, right? So we will try to identify the shortest in this picture. We see three pen, 1, 2, and 3. Now if you look just by looking at this picture, you can identify that the number 1 pen is the shortest, isn't it, children? This is the shortest among the three of them. So we will put a tick mark here, all right, indicating that this pen is the shortest. All right. Now let's move on to the next. Tick the smallest. Let's look at the example. We have here a man, an ant, and an elephant. Now just look at this picture. Study this picture. You will see that the ant is the smallest. It is very tiny. It is the smallest among the three of them. So we will put a tick mark below the ant to mark that this ant is the smallest among the three of them. All right, children? Now let's move on to the opposite of smallest. If you say small, the opposite will be big, right? So we have to tick the biggest, okay? Now let's look at the first picture. We have a watermelon, an apple, and a strawberry. Now these three fruits are here and we have to identify which is the biggest, right? So when you look at this picture, you can easily identify that watermelon is the biggest among the three, right, children? So the watermelon is the biggest fruit here, okay? Let's look at another example. we have a bus, we have a cycle, and we have a car. Now, by looking at this, you can see that the bus is the biggest among the three, right? So this is how you identify smallest and biggest, right? So let's look at the next topic. Tick the tallest. Tallest means uh, you can compare yourself with your friends, your height, the height, your heights can be compared. You can see who is the tallest. So similarly, here we have one house, sorry, one building and one small house, okay? So among the three of them, we have to identify which is the tallest. Tallest, by just looking at the image, we can say that this building is the tallest among the three of them. All right, children? Similarly, the opposite of tallest is shortest. So the same buildings again, the house, small house, a house, and the building. To find the shortest, by looking at this picture, we can easily identify that this yellow house is the shortest among the three of them. Right, children? Now, let's learn something new again. Thinner and thicker. Okay? So let's try to understand what thinner is and what thicker is. Let's look at the first image. Here we have a piece of ribbon. Okay? A ribbon is usually very thin, right? And we have a piece of rope here. So ropes are usually very thick. Okay? So we can say that the ribbon is thinner than the rope. Okay? The ribbon is thinner than the rope. All right, children? And exactly the opposite, we can say that the rope is thicker than the ribbon. All right, children? It is thicker than the ribbon. All right? So this is the meaning of thinner and thicker. All right? Understand, children? Let's look at the next one. Taller, shorter. Now, we have a father and a son. All right? So the father and the son's name, let's name him as Tom. Okay? So we can say that Tom is shorter than his father, isn't it? Tom is shorter than his father, right? So let's look at the next one. We can also say that the father is taller than Tom, right? Because we can clearly see from the picture that the father is taller than Tom. So this is how you will use taller and shorter. All right, children? Now, we will learn about nearest and farthest. So if you look at this picture, let's try to identify who is nearest to the swing. The nearest to the swing is this boy here, right? So we can say that this boy is nearest to the swing. All right, children? And if you look at the mother at the back, we can say that she is the farthest from the swing. All right? Farthest. She's very far from the swing. All right? So we can say that she is farthest from the swing. All right, children? So this is about nearest and farthest. Let's look at another example of nearest and farthest. We have a tree here, and we have one dog, two dogs, three dogs, four dogs. All right? So we have a total of four dogs. Now we want to identify which is nearest to the tree. Okay, children? So the nearest dog to the tree is the dog number one. It is nearest to the tree, to this tree. All right? And the farthest is number four. The number four dog is farthest from the tree. All right, children? Now, this measurement, what we do is measurement is usually for finding the shortest, the tallest, the biggest, the smallest, the thinnest, the thickest, and so on. All right, children? So I hope we are clear with that. Now let's move on to a new topic, length. Length is used to measure how long an object is. For example, I have this pointer with me. This pointer we can measure with our hand with a scale and know the length of this pointer. All right, children? So, for example, we have a classroom here. If we want to find the length, we will measure from this wall to the end of this wall in this manner. This will show you the length of the room, classroom. All right, children? And also, we can find length of different things. For example, a desk, we can find the length of its surface in this manner, right? A book, and we can find its length in this manner, measure this way. We can take a blackboard and measure in this manner, all right? From this end to this end. So it will give you the length, all right, children? Now, length is also used to measure distance. Distance, all right? Distance means, for example, let's look at this picture here. Let's say that this is your home, all right? And this is your school. Now, the length from your home going all the way like this to your school, this is called your distance, okay? The length from your home to the school will be called as distance, all right, children? So this is how you will measure the distance from your house to your school, all right? Another example can be a distance between two people. This girl and boy, they are standing at a distance of 2 meters apart, all right? So these days, due to COVID, we are advised to stay 2 meters away from each other, right? So that is also a distance, okay? A distance of 2 meters from one another, all right, children? Now, we will compare lengths, okay? If you look at the pencil 1 and pencil 2, let's try to identify which is longer and which is shorter. So first we will write pencil 1. That means the first one is longer than pencil 2. Okay, children? This pencil 1 is longer than pencil 2. Similarly, 1 and 2 pencils are given here. We can say that pencil 1 and 2, that means these two pencils, have the same length. That means they are equal. Okay, children? Now, measuring length using non-standard units. I've already mentioned non-standard units means it can be your finger, it can be your palm, it can be your feet. You can use any of these things to measure. All right. So, for example, you can use a pencil to measure things. You can use your hand to measure. You can use your feet to measure. You can use your cubit. A cubit means your arm's length from this elbow to the tip of your finger. All right? So this is also a cubit. Now, measuring with a pencil. Let's take an example of how to measure. For example, you have your desk here and you want to measure it with pencil. So this is how you're going to measure the first pencil, second pencil, and third pencil. So you can say that this desk is 3 pencils long. Okay? 3 pencils long. All right? Another way to measure is measuring with hand span and foot span. Now, if you look here, when you spread out your hand like this, you will see the hand span. That means from this tip of the little finger to the tip of your thumb, this distance is called your hand span. Okay? And similarly, for your foot span, from your heel till your toe. All right? Till the tip of your toe. So this distance is called your foot span. To understand this, let's look at this short video here. This is your hand span, all right? This is your foot span, and this is cubit. We will learn about them one by one. The hand span, this hand span is how you spread out your hand in this manner. From the tip of your thumb to the tip of your little finger, this distance, okay? This distance is called your hand span. Now let's take a mathematics textbook. Now we want to measure with your hand span. So we keep your hand in this manner. Now let's measure this. 1, 2. So we can say that this textbook, the length of the maths textbook is 2 hand spans. All right, children? I hope you're clear with this. Now, let's look at the next one. This is your foot span. Okay? So the foot span is nothing but from the heel to the tip of the toe. All right? This length is called your foot span. Now let's measure the length of this classroom with foot span. All right? So this is the first foot here, the first foot, and the second foot. So we 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. So we can say that this classroom, the length of the classroom is 20 foot spans. All right, children? So with this, we have come to the end of our class. So let's be clear about this. The foot span, the hand span, all these are called non-standard units. They vary from person to person. For instance, if I, as a teacher, I put out my hand and a small student puts out his or her hand, our hand will differ in size. Mine will be bigger, theirs will be smaller, right? So these are non-standard units, okay, children? So you can, for fun, you can go around measuring things around your home. Your bed, for example, right? Your door, for example, the windows, for example. So these measurements can be used in everyday life. All right, children? So please, if you have any confusion, go back to the first part of the video, start all over again, watch it, and understand what measurement is all about. All right, children? So I hope to see you very soon again. It was a fun time learning about measurements. Look forward to another class. So see you soon. Thank you.